Chapter 3. This chapter contains 17 sections. Chapter 3 Section 1 Description of Manvatras. Maitreya says, O Gurudev, now I wish to hear the description of all the Manvantaras and the manes who ruled those Manvantaras. Prashar says, first Manu was self-begotten. After him 5 more manes occurred, namely Swarochish, Uttam, Tamas, Revat, and Chakshush. All these manes had occurred during the previous ages. The present Manu, Vaivasvat, is the son of the sun, and this Manvantara is 7th. In the Swarochish Manvantara, Paravat and Tushitgana were the gods. Vipaschit was Indra, Urja, Stambh, Pran, Vat, Vrishab, Nitya and Parivan were the Saptarishis. Chaitra and Kimpurush etc. were the sons of Manu. Uttam was the Manu in Uttam Manvantara. Sushanti was Indra with Sudham. Satya, Jap, Pratridan and Vashwarti were his Ganas. 7 sons of Vashishta were Saptarishis. In Tamas Manvantara, there were 4 categories of the gods, namely Supar, Hari, Satya, and Sudhi. Each of them had 27 gods each. King Shibi was Indra during that Manvantara. Jyotirdhama, Prithu, Katya, Chaitra, Agni, Vanak and Pivar were Saptarishis. During Revat Manvantara, Vibhu was Indra. There were 4 categories of the gods, namely Amitabh, Bhutrath, Vaikuntha and Sumedha with 14 gods each. Hiranyaroma, Vedshri, Urdhvabahu, Vedbahu, Sudama, Parjanya and Mahamuni were the Saptarishis. 4 manes Swarochish, Uttam, Tamas and Revat are said to be the direct descendant of King Priyavrat. During Chakshush Manvantara, Indra's name was Manojav. Apya, Prasut, Bhavya, Prithuk and Lekh were the categories of gods, each with 8 deities. Sumedha, Viraja, Havishman, Uttam, Madhu, Atinama and Sahishnu were the Saptarishis. During the present Manvantara, the sun's brilliant son Shraddhadev as Manu, Aditya, Vasu and Rudra are the categories of the gods. Indra's name is Purandar. Vashishta, Kashyap, Atri, Jamadagni, Gautam, Vishwamitra and Bharadwaja are the Saptarishis. Present Manu has 9 sons: Ikshvaku, Nrig, Drisht, Sharayati, Narishyant, Nabhag, Arisht, Karush, and Prishadra. Chapter 3 Section 2 Birth of Savarni Manu and description of the next Manvatras. Maitreya says, O sage, now kindly narrate about the Manvantaras that are to come in future. Prashar says, Vishwakarma's daughter Sangya was the wife of Surya. They had 3 children, Manu, Yama, and Yamani. Sangya once felt unable to bear the radiance of Surya. So, appointing a Chaya, her shadow, in the service of Surya, she herself migrated to the forest and began to observe a penance. Surya mistook Chaya for Sangya and copulated with her. This resulted in the birth of 3 children, 1 more Manu, Shani, and Tapti. One day, getting angry for some unknown reason, Chaya, who was in the guise of Sangya, cursed Yama. Only then Surya and Yama came to know about her real identity. Through meditation, Surya saw that the real Sangya was observing penance as a mare in the forest. Surya also arrived in the forest and mated with Sangya in horse form. Their mating resulted in the birth of 2 Ashwini Kumars, Retahasrav and Revant. Thereafter, Surya brought Sangya to his abode where Vishwakarma dulled his radiance. Chaya's son, Manu, was a sibling of Manu. Hence he came to be known as Savarni. During the next Manvantara, Savarni will rule as Manu. Sutap, Amitabh and Mukhya will be the categories of gods, each with 20 deities. Ditiman, Galav, Rama, Krip, Ashwathama, Rishishringa and my son, Vedavyasa will be among the Saptarishis. By the grace of Lord Vishnu, Virochan's son Bali will occupy the throne of Indra. Dakshasa Varni will be the 9th Manu. During that Manvantara, Par, Marichgarva and Sudharma will be the 3 categories of the gods with 12 deities each. Adbhut will be Indra. Savan, Dutyman, Bhavya, Vasu, Meghatithi, Jyotishman and Sata will be among the Saptarishis. Brahmasavarni will be the 10th Manu. During that Manvantara, Sudhama and Vishuddha will be the 2 categories of gods with 100 deities each. Shanti will be Indra. Havishman, Sukrit, Satya, Tapomurti, Nabhag, Apratimauja and Satyaketu will be among the Saptarishis. Dharmasavarani will be the 11th Manu. Vihangam, Kamgam and Nirvangati will be the categories of gods each with 30 deities. Indra's name will be Vish, Nishwar, Agniteja, Vayushman, Ghrani, Aruni, Havishman and Anagh will be among the Saptarishis. Rudraputra Savarni will be the 12th Manu. Ritudhama will be Indra and Harit. Rohit, Sumna, Sukarma and Surag will be the 5 categories of the gods each with 10 deities. Tapasvi, Sutpa, Tapomurti, Taporati, Tapogharati, Tapodyuti and Tapodan will be among the Saptarishis. Ruchi will be the 13th Manu. Sutrama, Sukarma and Sudharma will be the categories of the gods each with 33 deities. Devaspati will be Indra. Nirmoh, Tattvagarshi, Nishprakam, Nirutsuk, Ghritiman, Avyay and Sutpa will be among the Saptarishis. Bhaum will be the 14th Manu. Suchi will be Indra. Chakshush, Pavitra, Kanisht, Brajik and Vachavridh will be the 5 categories of the gods. Agnibahu, Suchi, Shukra, Mangad, Agnidhara, Yukt and Jeet will be among the Saptarishis. With the passing of these 14 Manvantaras, a kalpa that comprises of 1000 yugas will come to an end. In Satayug, Lord Vishnu preaches about the metaphysical knowledge in Kapil's incarnation. In Tretayug, he destroys the evildoers and protects the world. In Dwaparyug, he divides the Vedas into 4 divisions. At the end of Kali Yuga, Lord takes Kali incarnation and inspires corrupt people to religious path. Thus, Lord Vishnu maintains order in all the 4 yugas and causes the creation, sustenance and ultimately destruction of the universe. Chapter 3 Section 3 Description of Veda Vyasa and the significance of Brahma Gyan. Maitreya says, O Lord, how did God divide Vedas in the form of Veda Vyasa during different yugas? Prashar says during each Dwapar Yuga. In every Kalpa, Lord Vishnu takes incarnation as Vedavyasa and effects the division of Vedas for the benefit of human beings. During every Dwapar Yuga of the present Vaivasvat Manvantara, different Vyasas have divided the Vedas 28 times. During the first Dwapar, Brahma himself had divided the Vedas. During the second Dwapar, Prajapati was Vedavyasa. During the third Dwapar, Shukracharya was Vedavyasa. During fourth Dwapar, Brihaspati acted as Vedavyasa. Description of other sages who acted as Vedavyasa during the subsequent Dwapas is as follows: Surya 5th Vedavyasa, Mrityu 6th Vedavyasa, Indra 7th Vedavyasa, Vashishta 8th Vedavyasa, Saraswat 9th Vedavyasa, Tridhama 10th Vedavyasa, Trishik 11th Vedavyasa, Bharadwaj 12th Vedavyasa, Antariksh 13th Vedavyasa, Varni 14th Vedavyasa. Names of next 14 Vedavyasas are as follows: Triyarun, Dhananjay, Krityunjay, J. Bharadwaj, Gautam, Haryatma, Vajshrava, Trinbindu, Riksh, Valmiki, Shakti, Pranshar, Jatukaran, and Krishnadvaipayan. After Krishnadvaipayan, Drona's son, Ashwathama will be the next Vedavyasa. Chapter 3 Section 4 Expansion of the branches of the Aji Veda. At the beginning of creation, Rigved contained all the 4 Vedas with 100,000 mantras. That Rigved helped a lot in the propagation of 10 kinds of yagyas. Then during the 28th Dwapar, my son, Krishnadvaipayan effected the division of Rigved in 4 Vedas. At the same time, he also trained 4 of his distinguished disciples in the study of Vedas. Each one of them was interested with the study of one particular Veda for infinite period of time. Accordingly, Sage Pale mastered in Rigved, Vaishampayan in Yajurveda, Gemini in Samveda and Sumantu in Atharvaveda. With the 4 Vedas, practice of Chaturotra also came into being. Chaturotra is now the main guiding feature of all kinds of yagyas. Vyasa also established the karmas of Advarayu by Yajurveda, of Hota by Rigved, of Udgata by Samveda and of Brahma by Atharvaveda. Sage Pale divided Rigved into 2 divisions and taught them to 2 of his disciples Indrapramiti and Vashkal. In his term, Vashkal divided his branch into 4 sub-branches and taught them to his disciples. Indrapramiti taught his branch of Rigved to his talented son, Sage Mandukya. Thus branches and sub-branches of Rigved grew substantially. In this tradition, Shakalvedamitra learnt a Sanghita and divided it into 5 sub-branches. One of his disciples named Shakpurna created 3 Sanghitas, whereas his another disciple created Nirukta Grantha. Vashkal created 3 Sanghitas and taught them to Kalayani, Gargya, and Tathaja. Chapter 3 Section 5 Description of the branches of the Yajurveda. A disciple of Vedavyasa named Vaishampayan created 27 branches of Yajurveda and taught them to his disciples. He had a disciple Yajnavalkya who was the son of Brahmarat. At that time, all the sages together constituted a rule that whoever did not join their group within 7 days on Mahameru would be held as a sinner equal to killing a Brahmin. Only Vaishampayan had violated that ruling. The curse of the sages did come true when Vaishampayan killed his sleeping nephew accidentally. Then he asked his disciples to do away with his sin. Yajnavalkya said, Lord, all these Brahmins are extremely dull. I will alone do away with your sin. These boastful words infuriated Vaishampayan. He said, You are insulting these Brahmins, so at once regurgitate whatever I have taught you. Yajnavalkya said, Lord, I uttered these words out of devotion for you. Still you wish me to regurgitate what you have taught me. Here it is. Saying this, Yajnavalkya vomited out all the Shrutis of Yajurveda. Other disciples of Vaishampayan pecked them in the form of partridges. Since then, they came to be known as Taittiriya Brahmins. Holding his breath, Yajnavalkya then started the worship of the sun with a desire to regain Yajurveda. Pleased by his prayers, Surya appeared before him in horse form and asked him to seek a boon. Yajnavalkya requested Surya to preach him those Shrutis of Yajurveda, which were not known even to his teacher, Vaishampayan. Surya preached him those Shrutis of Yajurveda, which were known as Zayatyam. The Brahmins who read these Shrutis came to be known as Vaji. Nowadays, there are 15 sub-branches of these Vaji Shrutis, which were initially expounded by sage Yajnavalkya. Chapter 3 Section 6 The branches of the Samaveda and the 18 Puranas. Sage Jaimini, a disciple of Vedavyasa, effected branches of Samaveda. Sage Jaimini had a son, Sumantu. Sumantu in turn had a son, Sukarma. Both of them studied a branch of Samved each. Sukarma divided his branch of Samved into sub-branches and taught them to his two disciples Kaushalya, Hiranyanabha and Paushpinji. Hiranyanabha had 500 disciples. Upon receiving the knowledge of Samved branch from Hiranyanabha, these disciples came to be known as Prachya Samag. Disciples of Paushpinji also effected divisions in Samved that they received from their teacher. One more disciple of Hiranyanabha named Kriti taught 24 Samhitas of Samved to his disciples. Sage Sumant taught Atharvaveda to his disciple Kabandh. Kabandh divided it into two parts and taught them to Devdarsh and Pathya respectively. A disciple of Pathya named Shaunak divided his Samhita into two parts and gave one of them to his disciple Vabharu and another to Saindhav. Saindhav's disciple Munjikesh divided his Samhita into three parts. Presently, 5 Samhitas of Atharvaveda, namely Nakshatra Kalpa, Veda Kalpa, Samhita Kalpa, Angiras Kalpa and Shanti Kalpa are considered authentic. Still unsatisfied by his achievement, sage Vedavyasa created Puran Samhita and taught them to his famous disciple Romaharshan Sutta. The Samhita that was created by Romaharshan was the base of 3 Samhitas Akritvrana, Savarni and Shanspayan created by Kashyapa Gotriya Brahmins. Vishnu Purana is in a way a summation of these 4 Samhitas. There are in all 18 Purans. In chronological order, these are as follows: Brahma Puran, Padma Puran, Vaishnav Puran, Shaiv Puran, Bhagvat Puran, Narad Puran, Markandeya Puran, Agneya Puran, Bhavishya Puran, Brahmavaivrat Puran, Linga Puran, Varaha Puran, Skand Puran, Vaman Puran, Kaurma Puran, Matsya Puran, Garud Puran, and Brahmand Puran. Chapter 3 Section 7 Yama Gita. Maitreya says, Lord, at the end of a lifespan, all the people come to be controlled by Yamaraj. When they are bound to undergo scores of suffering in different kinds of hells, kindly narrate about such action by which a human being gets free from the noose of Yamaraj. Prashar says, youngest among the Pandavas, Nakul had once put the same question before Pitamaha Bhishma. I am narrating what once Bhishma had narrated to Nakul. Before sending, Yamaraj advises his agents to stay away from the devotee of Lord Krishna. Yamaraj is Lord of all the human beings except Vaishnavas. Only Lord Vishnu is able to control Yamaraj. About the devotee of Lord Vishnu, Yamaraj says, he who does not deviate from his duties even in severest of crisis, who does not steal the wealth of others and kill animals is undoubtedly a devotee of Lord Vishnu. He who bears Lord Vishnu in his heart is a devotee of Lord Vishnu. He who is free from all kinds of ego and illusions and always wishes well for the others with pure and peaceful heart is a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Thus those who always contemplate on Lord Vishnu don't even fear death. Yama, Yamdut, Yamapash, Yamagana and even tortures of Yama are unable to hurt them. Chapter 3 Section 8 Duties of 4 Classes of Society. Maitreya says, Lord, how should one worship Lord Vishnu? Kindly describe it to me. Prashar says, King Sagar had asked the same thing from Sage Aurav. I am narrating what Sage Aurav had preached him. Only those who fulfill their responsibilities and discharge their duties as per their class can worship Lord Vishnu. Those who shun activities like criticizing others, backbiting, womanizing, stealing others' wealth and violence, those who do not torture others and are always ready to serve the gods, Brahmins and teachers are able to please Lord Vishnu. Similarly, one should be always conscious regarding his duties as per his class. Accordingly, a Brahmin should carry out yagyas, study scriptures and should not ever try to hurt anybody. A Kshatriya must organize yagyas and study scriptures. He should also make donations to Brahmins and take weapons in order to protect the earth. A Vaishya must earn his livelihood through cattle rearing, commerce and agriculture. Besides, he should also organize yagyas, make donations and study scriptures. A Shudra is expected to earn his livelihood through handicrafts. Saluting learned people is equal to organizing yagya for a Shudra. A Shudra may also make donations and oblations to appease his dead ancestors. In the time of emergency, a Brahmin may shift to the occupations meant for Kshatriya and Vaishya. A Kshatriya may take the occupation of a Vaishya during emergency, but none of them should ever take to the occupation of Shudra. Chapter 3 Section 9 Description of different ashrams. Since birth till death, human life passes through different stages. For the purpose of simplicity in following these stages, our sages have made provisions for 4 stages or ashrams in life, namely Brahmacharya, Grihasth, Vanprastha, and Sannyas. Upanayana Sanskara, thread ceremony, marks the beginning of education for the children born in Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya classes. For this purpose, a disciple must stay in his teacher's hermitage and observe celibacy strictly. There, he must serve his teacher and worship Surya and Agni. The disciple is expected never to disobey his teacher. Activities should be according to the teacher's guidelines. He should also make arrangements for the daily worship of his teacher in the way of collecting different materials like Havan Samagri, water, kusha, flowers, etc. After the completion of education and paying all the dues, the disciple is ready to start second stage of his life, that is Grihasthashram. For this he should first find a suitable girl from his class and make merry. During this stage, he should earn his livelihood by occupations ascribed for his class. He should please the gods by yagyas, his ancestors by oblations, Prajapatis by producing children, specters by offering sacrifices of cereals, and society by love. Even the ascetic and celibates depend on married people for their daily bread. Hence married life or Grihasthashram is stated to be excellent among all the ashrams. A Grihasth must welcome and warmly treat the guests who arrive unexpectedly. Such a household from where a guest returns desperately never succeeds in religious matters. All the worship and yagyas offered in such a household go futile. Hence it is not proper for the householder to show ego and abuse a guest, otherwise he will have to expiate for it later. A person must always be on alert to recognize the time when it is apt to take vanprastha. When the children grow and begin to hold the responsibility of the household, one enters the third stage, that is vanprasthashram. So, leaving his wife in the shelter of his children or taking her with him, one should migrate to the forest and live a simple life, sustaining on whatever little is available from the nature. This stage must be passed observing severe penance and restraining one's senses. Sannyasashram is the 4th stage of life. One should give up all activities related to dharma, artha and kamaya in this stage. He should keep an impartial view for all and cultivate a feeling of love for all the creatures. He should not hurt anybody by his words, actions or even thoughts. He should not stay in a village or town for more than 5 days. He should sustain his life on alms. Chapter 3 Section 10 Customs and Consecrations. At the time of childbirth, It is the father's responsibility to carry out certain customs and consecrations for the child. First of all, Jatakarma Sanskara is carried out, by which the newly born baby is included in the family. During this custom, a Brahmin couple is fed. It is also necessary for the couple that they should sit facing east while feeding. Thereafter, the parents should offer oblations to appease the gods and dead ancestors. Lumps made of barley flour, curd and berries should be offered as oblations. Similar consecrations are carried out at the time of children's marriage. On the 10th day after the birth, the naming ceremony is carried out. Different castes and religion have different traditions regarding naming the newly born child. It is commonly seen that most of the children are named after the deities and gods. Still, one should see that the name should not be meaningless, abusive or inauspicious. Practice of selecting exceptionally long and difficult to pronounce names should also be avoided. The second stage in a child's life is when he or she begins education. In ancient times, thread ceremony used to be carried out and the children were sent to their teacher's hermitage for education. In modern age, thread ceremony is followed more or less in similar way as it used to be in the past. But children are not sent to Gurukul for education anymore. After completing education, a person should get married and run his own life. In the past, there had been elaborate rituals for the selection of suitable bride. Elders of the house used to select a proper match for the boy. Their choice in most cases depended on many attributes and bodily features of the girl. But in modern age, with increased interaction among the people, it is not possible to follow each and every custom related to selection of bride. Still, one should take care not to marry in his mother's lineage for up to 5th generation and in his father's lineage up to 7th generation. Chapter 3 Section 11 Description of Righteousness. A married man knows the importance of following a righteous discourse. Married life is like a penance in which a couple gives birth and raises next generation. A married man is expected to get up early in the morning and contemplate on religious things. It helps him to follow righteous discourse. He is expected to attend nature's call in natural environment away from his house. Soil is considered the best means to wash hands. It should be followed by cleansing of the body. He should then offer oblations wearing fresh clothes to sages, deities and his dead ancestors. Offering oblations to the sun, worship of tutelary god and other deities follows then. If the household is having some cattle, the head of the family should himself milk them and then wait for the guest. If and when a guest arrives, the head of the family must offer him a seat respectfully and treat him well with delicious food and pleasant talk. In Indian tradition, a guest is regarded equal to a deity. He should take food only after feeding the guest. Evening time has also elaborate rituals for a married man. First of all, after finishing daily chores, a married man must worship with peaceful mind. It is also good for his health to take food early in the evening and retire to a wooden bedstead. Night time is considered suitable period for enjoying carnal pleasure. Here too, a married man should enjoy intimacy with his wife only. Chapter 3 Section 12 Sanctification after Birth and Death. Life on earth is like an infinite ocean in which birth appears like a bubble and death marks the bursting of that bubble, after which it exists no more. Atmosphere of a household is said to be defiled when a birth or death occurs in it. There are different sanctifying customs to be carried out on both these occasions. After the birth of a son, the father should offer oblations to please the gods and his ancestors after taking a bath. When a death occurs in a household, Close relatives should take bath and carry the cadaver adorned with flowers and garlands outside the village or well-demarcated cremation ground for cremation. As per the religious tradition of the deceased, the body should either be consigned to the flames or buried. Then the relatives should again take bath in the pond or river facing south and offer watery oblations to the dead person. Since that day, Pindadan, offering sweet balls made of barley flour, sesame seeds, jaggery and honey, should be done for 10 days. On the 4th day of the cremation, ashes should be collected for immersion in holy places of pilgrimage. The person who had carried out the cremation must abstain from intimacy for 13 days. Outsiders are also barred from eating cereals from such a household where a death has occurred. For the different classes of Hindu society, this sanctifying period varies. For Brahmins, it is 10 days, for Kshatriyas, it is 12 days, for Vaishyas, it is 15 days, and for Shudras, this period has been fixed for 1 month. On the same day in every subsequent month, oblations should be offered to the dead for 1 year. Chapter 3 Section 13 Days for Monthly Oblations. A shraddh carried out with devotion pleases the entire world including human beings. Brahma, Indra, Rudra, Ashwini Kumars, Surya, Agni, Vasugana, Marudgana, Vishwadeva, Pitragana, birds, animals, reptiles, sages and of course the dead ancestors. Moonless and 8th day in the darker phase of every lunar month are considered the best days for offering oblations to the dead ancestors. Apart from these two, 3rd day in the brighter phase of Vaishakh, 9th day in brighter phase of Kartik, 13th day in the darker phase of Bhadrapad and Amavasya of Magh are also considered excellent. During lunar and solar eclipses also, oblations should be made with water and sesame seeds. If Shatabhisha Nakshatra occurs on Amavasya of Magh, it is considered an excellent conjugation for offering oblations to dead ancestors. Bathing in rivers like Ganga, Satluj, Yamuna, Vipasha, Saraswati, Gomti, Godavari etc. while making oblations is also said to be extremely benefiting. It is not necessary also to show great pomp and show while making oblations. If one doesn't have enough money to offer oblations properly, he may simply pray the sun saying that he is not fortunate enough to have wealth. Thus, his ancestors would be pleased by his devotion alone. Chapter 3 Section 14 Method for Oblations. While making oblations to the dead ancestors, one should feed his near and dear ones as well as learned Brahmins who respect their parents. Intimacy with women is barred for those who have taken food in an oblation. Any guest who happens to arrive unexpectedly and uninvited should be treated well. Before feeding, plain cereals should be offered thrice to the fire reciting following hymns. Agnaye kavya vahanaye swaha somaye pitramate swaha vai vaswataye swaha. Remaining cereals then should be served with the food to the Brahmins, and some parts should also be cast on earth and water should be offered on them. After the feast, the Brahmins should be seen off with respect. The host should then take food along with his family. Anger over enthusiasm and walking on the street is forbidden for the host during oblation period. Chapter 3 Section 15 Do's and Don'ts during oblation. Oblation with flesh of fish, rabbit, mongoose, hog, deer, ram and cereals cause extreme satisfaction for the ancestors. But in modern Kali Yuga, all types of flesh are forbidden in oblation rituals. Only cereals, milk, honey, etc. are allowed. Offering of oblation in Gaya, a place of pilgrimage in Bihar, is said to salve all the ancestors. Barley, wheat, rice, sesame seeds, peas, and mustard are the common cereals and grains used in oblations. Offering of oblation is a sacred affair. During the procedure, care should be taken that an eunuch, chandal, sinner, impostor, patient, cock, dog, a naked person, monkey, pigs, a woman in menses, and anybody in whose house a death or birth has occurred don't see the performer, otherwise neither the deities nor the ancestors would accept the oblations. Water used in oblation should also be free from odor and foam. Milk of camel, sheep, doe and buffalo should not be used in oblations. Before beginning the ritual, drive out the evil spirits from the selected piece of land. It should be cut off from outside influences through enclosures. Chapter 3 Section 16 The Battle of Gods and Demons. Rig, Shama and Yajurveda are like the clothes of Hindu society. Those who give them up are in fact naked. This statement is endorsed by the following tale. Once upon a time, a battle occurred between the demons and the gods. It lasted for 100 years, at the end of which period, the demons defeated the gods. The humiliated gods reached Kshirosagar and prayed Lord Vishnu. Pleased by their prayers, Lord Vishnu appeared before the gods. All the gods greeted him and said, "O Lord, in sheer violation of Brahma's dictate, formidable demons have kidnapped even our due shares offered in the oblations. Protect us from the onslaught of the demons. We cannot fill them because they abide by their religion. Kindly show us a way to kill the demons." Hearing the pleas of the gods, Lord Vishnu produced Maya Moha from his body and giving them to the gods, said Maya Moha will cause illusion in the minds of the demons. The illusion will influence the demons to violate the path shown by the Vedas. You can kill them after that. Saying this, the Lord disappeared. The gods took Maya Moha and reached the abode of the demons. Chapter 3 Section 17 Dialogue of Maya Moha with Demons. Maya Moha was produced in a naked form. It reached the bank of Narmada and saw the demons observing penance there. The naked Maya Moha then approached them and said in a sweet voice, "O demons, what is the purpose of your penance?" The demons said, "We are observing penance to achieve the metaphysical world." Maya Moha said, "If you long for salvation, do as I suggest. Follow the religion which is like an open gate to salvation." With such sweet talk, Maya Moha began to illumine the demons' mind. Maya Moha confused them further, saying, "O demons, if you long for salvation or a place in the heaven, give up sacrificing animals and attain enlightenment. It is wrong notion to say that violence is the religious path. Offering of oblations in fire is also childish. Even an animal which eats green grass is better than Indra, who is obliged to eat wood despite attaining that position after hundreds of great yagyas. If an animal which is sacrificed in yagya attains heaven, performer of yagya would have killed his own father." Thus with these witty talks, Maya Moha deviated the demons from the righteous path, because of which they lost interest in Vedas. Once it was achieved, the gods attacked the demons with full preparations. Ultimately, many demons were killed, whereas those who remained came to be known as naked because they no longer followed the teachings of Vedas. Thus, anybody who does not practice the teachings of Vedas in his life is known as naked. Those who do not take to Vanprastha or Sanyas after the completion of Grihasthashram are naked. Tale of Shantadhanu. In the ancient times there was a king named Shantadhanu. His queen Shaivya was a righteous and religious woman. The king and the queen had worshipped Lord Vishnu, observing severe penance. On the full moon day in the month of Kartik, when the king and queen came out of the Ganges after taking bath, they happened to sight an impostor Brahmin who was coming from the opposite direction. The Brahmin was a friend of the king's teacher, so the king treated the Brahmin with respect. But his chaste wife did not show any respect for the impostor and kept silent all through the talk. She then had a sight of the sun to expiate for the meeting with an impostor. On their return to the palace, the king and the queen worshipped Lord Vishnu with proper rituals. In due course, the king died. The queen also committed sati. Since the king had committed the sin of talking to an impostor during his penance, the king had committed the sin of talking to an impostor during his penance. He took birth in a dog form, whereas Queen Shaivya took birth as the daughter of a Kashi king. She was extremely beautiful and knew everything about her previous birth. When her father decided to marry her off, she requestfully refused, for she knew that her previous birth husband was roaming the streets and lanes of Vidisha in a dog form. The princess of Kashi then reached Vidisha and found out that dog was in fact King Shantadhanu. She fed the dog with delicious food, eating which the dog began to wag its tail and show humility before the princess. The princess saluted the dog and narrated the whole thing to it, that it was because of his sin of talking to an impostor during penance that he had to take birth as a dog. Thus, reminded by the princess, the dog contemplated for long on the events of his previous birth. He grew so sad that he gave up the dog form on the outskirts of the town. In his next birth, however, he was born as a jackal. Again the princess came to know that the jackal was King Shantadhanu and asked him whether he continued to talk to the impostor after their conversation in the previous birth. Only then King Shantadhanu came to realize his mistake. He then observed fast till death. But in his next birth, he was born as a wolf. Again the princess reminded him of his previous birth. The king became a vulture in his next birth. After that, he took birth in crow form and then as a peacock. During that time, King Janak was organizing an Ashwamedha Yajna. In the Yajna, the peacock was also given a ceremonial bath by the princess. During the bath, the princess reminded the peacock, King Shantadhanu, of his previous birth. The peacock too died and took next birth as the son of King Janak. It was only after the birth of King Janak's son that the princess told her father to organize a Swayamvar for her. In the Swayamvar, the prince also arrived. The princess accepted him respectfully as her husband.